Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the build, guys. Today it's part 3 of working on the BMW R9T. So before I can start with continuing the work, I have to clean up a little oversight from part 2, which is when installing the push rod for the clutch. I just slid it in and called it a day. But apparently I have to also smear some clutch assembly paste, some MP3 paste on it, that stuff here. And I didn't do that, so I'm going to take the clutch release cylinder, that's the one down here. I'm going to take that off again, take the push rod out, smear some MP3 paste on it and put it back in. Then again, torque these two evenly with 8 Newton meter. With that corrected out of the way, before I continue on the clutch system, I want to torque down the frame. You have 5 screws in here, or bolts. The top one on either side up here, this is a M10, 38 Newton meter. Down here the M12, 66 Newton meter. And the one that's missing here, I think it goes in there. That is a M8, 55 millimeter. And that is 19 Newton meter. So now that the frame is on again, tightened, don't mind that one missing one, it's gonna be on there faster than you know. Imagine it torqued. Now clutch. You may have noticed or may have said these are all new screws here because they were missing. But you do have clutch cylinder here, and to be honest, I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not familiar with the procedures on a bike, but I have no idea why this tab and the diaphragm and everything has been out and was missing, and it's empty. I don't know why this was open. I'm not entirely, I'm not too familiar with the procedures here, so I'm not sure if that's supposed to be. But I mean, you just could leave it closed. And also down there, you don't open the fluid system anywhere, so why bother? Unless person drained it first for some reason, I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I'm also going to change the line. Not because this bothers me, but because this bothers me. Something small, not too big, but just not pretty. Because I also got to clean up this plastic stuff here a bit. It's also kind of faded. But as mentioned in the second part, I'm going to replace it with a Spiegler, black line, black fittings. It's going to run down here. Mostly going to be hidden under the tank. Other than back here. Here, that's usually where your airbox would sit, if you have one. And then bleeded clutch fluid you need is the blue V10. That's the one that's supposed to be used. And you need a little syringe, so this is different. Coming from an automotive background and brakes, as usually, you would just pump the brake or the clutch until it stops bubbling back there. But apparently, at least the Haynes manual says it's different. They actually pump it in on the back here until it comes out on top, and then you level it out here. That's supposed to be a max line, but honestly I can't see any. I'm just gonna take this little pennants here as an indicator as max, because you then have to still put on the diaphragm. It's going to totally push in. So, but that's what I'm going to do. Change the line. So I'm going to open down here first, let it bleed out. Then I'm going to disconnect the handle up here and remove the line. Have to snake it through. Of course, check first if it's the same length as the new one that I have should be. I ordered original length, so should be fine. Fill the new one back in. You see there's a cable tie here. Has to be replaced then. That's pretty much the only one. It's just clipped in here and here. Passes through here. And then just runs down here. And connects back to the release cylinder again. It's pretty straightforward. Let's just get it done. Before opening it, just take a plastic, a nylon brush and try to clean some of the dirt off. so it doesn't really fall into the system right away. And also I'm going to open the little valve first. So now it's been held. Opens, still some fluid in there. Good to have a catch can underneath. That's an 8mm by the way. I'm opening 13mm plug, just like that. Make sure you get all the washers here and here. These are copper ones. The new ones that came with the Spiegler kit are aluminum ones. Doesn't matter much. Top is also 13mm. Yeah, see the problem? This shouldn't spin like this. I don't want to spray anything in, but I guess I have to. Little knob here. Just this little thing. There's one up here and one underneath. Just showing you where the knobbles are. One was on top here and the other one was here. Pretty much right under this, not a bracket or just a little like coat hanger thing that hangs on here, and you can just like, you know, bend it a little to the side to take a line out. But similar as here, you know, you have like 3 over here. Here it's just 1 and 2 right here. And now let's see if it comes out. Okay. So that's interesting. Of course, there's one rubber seal, one O-ring on the top here. There was another O-ring. I'm not sure why, in all honesty. There should be a washer in the back here. At least that's what Spiegler gave me to kind of see it against here. So let's take this out. Let me see. There we have old line and new line. Same length, same thing, just that it's black. Hard to tell in front of the black bike. Just put it in and see. So I removed the little bleed valve from the bencher bolt. Now I'm putting on new washers, both sides of course. You will tighten this with 22 Newton-meter. Wow, it's 22. Honestly, these 22 Newton-meter, they feel way tighter than maybe should be. It is good, a bencher bolt is hollow, so they don't really take much torque. Whatever, crush washers, fine. So anyway, now let's continue. I'm gonna route my wires nicely again. It was supposed to go in here, but this is broken. Of course it's broken, you know, not surprised. And then this goes up here, some slack in here. It does have a shape to it, the entire line. Probably because of transport. It was curled up in a little box in here, not ideal. Either way, now it's just installed this on the top here and we be done. So the line is in, you cannot see it because it's black, that's the point. But a couple things to notice. The left O-ring here is the one that came on the line. I took that off and this is the one that was on the original line. So this is the new Spiegler line O-ring and this is the old OEM O-ring. It's a lot smaller and you could not fit this O-ring in. There's no way. I don't know why, but for some reason a second O-ring fell out when I removed the old line. So I just used that O-ring and it fits in. I use also one of the crush washers that it came with 3 crush washers. You need 2 down there, and I use this one up here because the bolt here is smaller than the original one. Original is 13mm, this is an 11mm. So I used the crush washer here to protect the plastic a bit. And also this way, you won't run into the issue that your line spins while tightening it, so you can actually align it. So I did this first, then I installed the bottom part, and up here you also have to make sure, because it's a bike, you know, it steers, you have to make sure that your line has enough slack in it, that it can go lock to lock. The line doesn't inhibit the movement of the steering of the handlebars. And down here, probably have to replace this band here also. So I can, you know, install it here. There's a little spacer to it, so it's away from the frame. Of course, gonna install the valves again and then bleed it from the bottom up. Push, I don't know, like 100, probably put like 150 milliliter in there. Push it in here and watch it come out of here. Let's see how that goes. My little Amazon pump fingers here, this fits pretty tight on here, which is neat. Let's go in here, pump it up, go to 150, and I pretty much just load it up and see how much I need. It's more than enough. It's already open, but now, again, 2 people would be better. I'm just gonna put this on here. It's pretty tight, it should hold by itself. And then, I'm gonna start pushing. And it should just go straight up. Worst case, it just zips down on me. I have air on top coming out. It's nice. Let's go. Pushing slowly. Some drippage going on down here. It's still not all the way through. There's some coming out. Be slow on it. Slowly filling up. Slow, steady pressure. You can see the little hump forming down the middle. And now we my mark on the close down here. So not sure what happened, but recording stopped. Once you fill in your fluid, you can see it bubbling out of here. Then you close once you reach the top mark. There's like a little mark here. Just this little, you can just barely see this little, yeah, stem there beside this one hole. And once you reach it, it's considered full. You close the bottom, and then to make sure you don't have air in there, you pull the lever, that lever, and you release it slowly. As mentioned, somehow it didn't film, but there were a couple bubbles coming out when I did this. So now I'm done with this. I'm going to put a diaphragm in and the cap on, and that's it. This goes only in one direction, only way, like this. The cap, it's the OEM caps. It's good enough for now. And the 4 screws that hold the cap, those are T20. This is plastic, don't have to be too hard on it. Make sure you don't strip it. So in the end, you just test it, you just give it a couple pulls, hold it. It's really not much doing, it does not feel pressure on there. You know, it's just a medium going through. It's not like a brake, but you still want to do this and then check for leaks. Of course, where the line connects would always be, you know, running to the bottom. And also down here. I mean, it's easy in my case. You probably have some more bike here, but just to demonstrate it. So lastly, you put a cap on here, which I have to order because of course it's missing. And then I would also replace this hook here, this holder, because the hook that goes over here is of course broken away. And then this Spiegler clutch line, mine black, is blending in. It's nothing anyone would notice ever. It just looks like it should come like this from factory, but it doesn't. I think the line is like 70 or 80 bucks, something like this. And you couldn't tell. So that's a little bit, might be a waste of money in your opinion. In my opinion, it just fits overall better. Why putting white lines in anyway? I would also like to change the ones in the front here and the ones in the back, but they do not offer it, which bothers me, because those are the ones you really can see. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is at this point. Let's move on. Clutch in, custom clutch line in, system bled clutch works. How you can test it also, you know, it's a new clutch. I never rode this bike before, So I want to of course test it. How you can test it right now, right now the bike is in neutral. You can just spin the output shaft here, it's fine. If you drop it into a gear, you can't. But then if you pull the clutch, then you can again, and you actually hear and also feel it goes a little harder than in neutral. You can hear the clutch disc rotating in there. Next thing, of course, matchy. My brake line here looks crappy also. To see if I get a new banjo bolt here, because this looks crappy also, might as well. This throttle cable will be replaced also. Levers will be replaced. You also notice the light is gone. That is being powder coated right now. Either way, now it's like 1:30 a.m. in the night. I'm gonna cut it here and come back with whatever I do next on this thing.
3 days later.
So friends, got a couple parts back from powder coating, phase 1. This one, you remember, was completely beaten up. You can still see some indentations here, but at least now it's all black. I pressed in a new bushing here. There are gonna be the covers on there. And with that, I can reinstall the swing arm in the diff and get a wheel on. I have everything else as far as I know. So I can get this thing off the stand. I wanted to do this black because I don't like the gray very much. But you have a bushing there. You have a bushing there. That's one there. There's none. And then you also need to have the diff black, which is just this one part here. But taking that apart is a different story. So for now, I just leave it gray. Not a fan of it, but at least it matches the cylinder head covers, but they're gonna be black. That's kind of easy to do, but more on that later. Another thing that came back from coating is the headlight basket, and of course the bezel. And yes, this is gloss black. Most people just leave the basket alone because it's already matte black, and they just coat the silver, you know, the bezel here to make it match in matte black. But since everybody does that, I decided to go with gloss black. I think I've seen only one bike that also went with gloss black, and this gloss black bezel. I have not seen a gloss black basket here. People tend to leave it alone, but I went full on. I think it just matches better. No, overall, fender is gloss black, the tank is gloss black, this gloss black, and these things they also have to change color because the previous owner had a windshield on here that's damaged or wear off the trim piece here, so that's not okay. Now it's time to get the swing arm back in, and yes, I'm still waiting on that last screw down here, but I can still access that later. There's enough space, I believe, to slide it in underneath the swing arm. So I'm installing the drive shaft again. First you have to loop your splines here. I got this paste, just spread some on here. That should be enough. When installing the drive shaft, pay attention that we have your spring ring, a clip ring. In my case, it's stuck in here. So just take it, align it, and then you have to give it a push so it clips in. Oh, come on. Jesus Christ. Not that easy. There we go. Now drive shaft doesn't fall out anymore. So next you take some NBU30T PTM, whatever that is. It's a silicone grease, and you smear it around, you know, both sides here. And then this goes on like this. Just clip it in. The plastic nose is going to hold it in place. With the boot on, it's now time to slide the swing arm back on. You want to have both, that's the right side, you want to have that ready. And of course also left side already pre-creased. Now you slide this over here. And you put put this in. One and two. So both the pins are in. I put a swing arm onto a card leg. And now first you turn this, it's a Allen 12 millimeter. You turn this in, finger tight. Don't tighten anything yet. Then you come to the other side. You of course put these 3 screws in and tighten them with 9 Newton meter. So how do you know when this is tight enough? When it starts pushing the swing arm back out, then it's too much, because you only have the thread in here, and here is just where the pin sits. And if you turn too far, it starts pushing it out. So you want to back it up a bit. Like swing these 3 screws, 9 Newton meter. These are new screws in my case. They already have thread lock on there. If you don't have that, you want to add some. 9 Newton meter is not much, so don't go crazy. And that's a T30 Torx. Okay, other side, that's the pin. First you tighten the pin to 20 Newton meter, then you loosen it, and then you tighten it again to 7 Newton meter. Then you toss your lock nut on and tighten that to 145 Newton meter. But you have to mark your pin on the frame somewhere or have a reference to make sure it doesn't rotate. There's also a tool. This is the tool. It's basically a Allen 12 millimeter pinions and a window nut, so you can tighten that to 30 mil. This way you can hold the pin and make sure it doesn't rotate. Let's do 20 Newton meter first. It's about 15 foot-pound. 20 Newton meter. And what this does is tension. See now with the gap here, it's tensioning the swing arm between the frame. Now we back it out again and tighten it to 7 Newton meter. 7. Now you gave it a defined tension here. See the gap? That's on purpose. Now lock nut on and give it 145 Newton meter. That is the highest number I've seen on this bike so far. So let's see how that goes. But with the tool that I have here, holding it shouldn't be a problem. Of course I take reference. I don't make a mark, but I see here these 2 lines show like over here, almost up to the frame. The one at the bottom shows almost down. So these 3 lines show kind of in here. I take that as a reference. Also you can see the tips here. You can only see one tip. Shows perfectly straight down. That's a good reference too, having this one as a clear indicator and these 3 as a direction. That's going to be good enough for me. If you're doing this the first time or any of this work first time, put your mark on there, it doesn't hurt. So this goes in here, torque wrench goes over here, and it's just a 10 millimeter holding it in place, making sure it doesn't spin. Now 145 Newton meter. Come on. Whoa. Tight, and I could see it did spin. Okay, that's it. And lastly, now that the swing arm is secured both sides here, we put the cover on. Go, cover is on. Now is also the time to get a zip tie out and secure the boot onto the transmission. You have a little groove in there, make sure the zip tie sits in the groove and not on top of it. See now it sits inside of it, all around, and then you tighten that thing. It looks something like this. When it's seated properly, you have a upper lip, and of course the zip tie is supposed to hold it. So now is the time to install my freshly recoated power lever arm. This piece, it's a power lever arm apparently. Freshly coated, new bushing, plastic washers. It goes in here. gonna clip on the plastic washers first. Just go barely above this bushing here. I'll just slide it in. Put our I think it's a T50 Torx in there. And just tighten it finger tight. It's not ready yet. In it goes. T50. This is a new screw, so it already has thread locker on there. If you use the old one, clean it, put new Loctite on there. You're good. Just underneath here, doesn't damage anything. Now it's time to install the rear shock absorber. And here is the new shock I'm going to install. Of course, it's the Wilbur's. I should read that first. Black line. This is not the performance one with the extra reservoir, because honestly I will not need it. This is too much. Oh yeah, they also tell you to read it before you do anything. What the Haynes manual says in the meantime, this is a new bolt, it has the new thread lock on, of course, and the Haynes manual says to lubricate the, just give it a little bit smear on there, the blank shaft of the screw, maybe so it doesn't squeak or whatnot. This is the old screw. I have to apply some thread lock, blue Loctite, that should do, just a dab and it's good. The shorter one goes up, the longer one is at the bottom. So only thing that the Wilbur's manual said that the Haynes manual didn't say, this logic for anyone who worked on any vehicles before on suspension components. After putting it in, you don't torque it in this setup here, because it's not in what we call in German Normallage. It's not in the normal driving position. So you would put them in hand height, you would not tighten them, you would not torque them until the bike and the rear wheel is on the ground again. So that for me is the case after I put on the rear drivetrain, the final drive, because then I can put my rear stand on and put the bike on the stand instead of this mini lift here. And as soon as the bike is held through the center of the final drive, that is a normal riding position, without rider of course, and then you can tighten the bolt. That is all. You tighten both of them to 56 Newton meter. Pretty easy. And now I don't need a jack stand anymore because the swing arm has been held by the suspension. So you just turn it in, and once you reach the end, you just back it out half a turn or like a turn. That should be enough. And now it's time for the final drive. Clean the diff a little bit. You can see I'm missing the ABS sensor here. That's on the bench. And the same as on the front, you would give it a tap of some pretty silicone grease, NBU, whatever, TP, around here. Goes in snug, doesn't squeak. The same on the other side. Just clip it in place here. Go, click. You can also install it on the swing arm first and then swing it up. So just showing you a couple of things. You have this little piece, see that rubber O-ring here, and it goes in like this. Back there, this is the right hand side of the final drive. This goes in like this, sits there. And then I ordered this seal here, this gasket. And I was wondering where does it even go in here. But I found it. Looks like this, it's halfway gone, crap. Also, I don't like how this bearing looks like. So I'm going to replace it, to pull it out. I have the new one here. It is pressed in, made in Germany. You have a rubber lip here, that's on the inside. And I believe it is just sitting flush. So I can just press it out and press the new one in.
A few moments later.
Clean it a bit. Now, just gonna hang the final drive on here and let it dingle. This goes just over here, like that. You push in this vent. cylinder in. Now it's in. On the side with the new seal. In here. And then just take our new bolt or used bolt with new thread lock T55 and bolt this thing twisted in. Right. Okay, it's good enough. Now again with the grease these teeth here. Get this a little bit out of the way. I already have my everything prepared here, my bolt, my nut that goes over here. Final drive is on, yet 3. And now to finish it up, we tighten the bolt over here, the 55 Torx. Gotta hold it here, tighten it with 100 Newton meter, then tighten this with 56 Newton meter. Final drive unit is all tight. Power lever is tight one side, to still tighten the other side, just as this one. Also 56 Newton meter. Let's get it off the stand. Tighten the shock. Slide this bastard in carefully. So much better. This is so much more stable on this pit bull stand than on the stupid lift. Now that the bike is on its own axle, I can tighten the 56 Newton meter for the shock. You need long torques when working on this thing, stupid as it sounds. Also you can't see really anything in there. Just be careful not to wound it out. Okay. Tight. So guys, I'm gonna call it a day for today because it's night again, midnight. It is what it is, and I don't want these videos to become too long. The last one was like half an hour, but I do want to show you the steps overall. So if you ever end up with a messed up R9T, you know where to go, where to find all the Torx packs, how to do things. Hope I'm doing a good job. Let me know if I'm doing so or if I'm not doing so, and I know at least what to improve. So for now it's progress. We started, the first video was just introduction, second video was installing the clutch, the transmission, all the stuff, whatnot. This is the third part of this. And we're having the swing arm, the final drive back in, the frame is on, the resuspension is on. We're making progress here. Still waiting on a couple of parts that should arrive this week. Next video, I still have to fill the oil in the final drive. Of course, there's the sensor missing, there's a bracket missing, there's a vent nipple missing, there's a brake missing, there's everything missing pretty much. It's just the bare final drive. I also still want to change the oil in the transmission. So we're gonna do those two things in the next video. Then we got engine oil done, final drive oil, transmission oil, we got clutch fluid done. I will do brake fluid, of course, on the rear because I have to change the caliper and everything. Also, it's open. And also the front because I'm still changing my line. Everything will be open, all fluids new. But before I leave, one little something to show you. Is usually down here, this pivot pin. That's where people put frame sliders. Standard comes with this cover. I have those. Come on, go in, bastard. RSD covers. Would look so much better if this crap would be black. I kind of regret not coating it. But it's just too much work, especially taking the final drive apart. It's not really worth it. We have rubber seals here on both sides. You can't bake it. You could paint it. Maybe that's what I'm going to do the route, but you have to take everything apart. You have to mask off so much. It's honestly not really worth it. I'll leave it gray for now. The swing arm could be done. Still, you have to remove a couple mounts, but that'd be it. But if I can't do the final drive, what's the point of the swing arm? Meh. Put this in. Oh, I also found another Roland Sons design cap here. And I also have the one for the rear. That's gonna be nice, but it's been messed up badly. But slowly, this bike is coming together. Until I take the forks apart. I mean, look at this. This is a new one. Just changed it 2 days ago. It's already all soaked here. And this one, don't even have to talk about it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on part 4 of this R9T series or of any of the other videos on the channel.